Hello everyone, I missed you. It's been about 9 months since I've made a video about surfacing. I've been real busy playing with this stuff, doing all kinds of jazz, just like any machine shop. But today, I'm gonna do a video for our channel sponsor, which is Performance CBN, who builds these big beefy fly cutters for CNC machines. Now they were kind enough to give us their biggest one to test after seeing the fly cutter we had in our last video. Now this fly cutter is special. It's real big. This one's 14 inch. Okay, they make one in a 12 inch. They also make one they make them in aluminum also. Okay, let me show you what makes this bad boy special is the way that it can hold a cartridge. And the cartridge, they make two. This one is the standard PCD. Let me show you here. I just was using this thing. So there you go. There's a really good clear shot. So that cartridge holds that insert like that. Now, when you're doing bimetal, okay, which my last video, we talked a lot about bimetal. Right now I'm doing a Subaru. We're testing this thing on that, see how smooth we can go. This is the other cartridge, which holds the angle way different. Okay, it's like shaped this way instead of like just this. Sorry, my hands are just beat to hell, but this way, okay? So the cartridge, yeah, it lets you kind of custom the fly cutter, custom set up your fly cutter there. I don't have the insert in there. Now what you're gonna notice, I'll go get it. It's right in this box. I'm gonna try to just do this with one big take. I'm not even gonna open it, but you can see that it's conical shaped, okay? And that way, when this sucker is in there, tipped back, that back edge doesn't drag. If it was a double-faced, like hockey puck, the back end here, where my finger's touching, that would drag. So it has to be cone shaped, okay? So that's in there. And what I'm testing today isn't really this. I'm testing this. Okay, remember how my last setup, we had a flywheel with a roller, which that works really decent for this. This is not a surfacer, and I'm going to explain that right now. This setup does not work for this. It is not going to give you the smoothness tolerance. That's all there is to it. It has a lot to do with rigidity. It actually has everything to do with rigidity, because you lose rigidity here, okay? And you're going to lose some rigidity here. And then you're going to lose flatness tolerance of the bow, because this table being so dang heavy, starting here, it tips, and then it kind of does these. So do not go get a mill and think you're going to be surfacing longer stuff here. The longer it is, like a 6-cylinder, whew, you'd have like a 3/1000, you know. Everybody's machine's going to be different. Check this out, though. This is 14 inch. This is about 10 inch. When I face it, it's going to come to here and stop. We can cut this super flat. Normally, you have to kilter the spindle like 3/1000 feeler gauge under here and contact here. So that way you do not drag the back of the tool, okay? If your spindle is perfectly straight, in theory, you would cut with the leading edge, and then you will not cut here, but it will rub and will ruin your deck surface. So what I'm trying to do is, I want to see if I can face this and then and see how flat it is. I'm not worried about my surface. Let me show you why. I have a sanding block, which if you want one of these, put it in the comments. I can get these pretty cheap. My dad, Performance CBN, my dad, he can get metal like from this place that does Blanchard grinding for us. And I'm thinking about making these for you guys for sandpaper, making them exactly half sheet, so you can lap your deck super flat, super rigid bar, and know you're doing something good to your deck. So put in the comments if you'd like to see these. They wouldn't be very expensive because we have the hookup on the double disc grinding and Blanchard grinding in the metals. So yeah, and you can also use it as a parallel block if you buy two. So see these parallel blocks, super awesome. They've been ground together. Anyways, back on track. I can sand my deck down and lap it and get like, I mean, I've been scratching on it everywhere, but you can get this finish. Now here's my tool marks. So that is the spindle dancing around. This is not this thing flexing. This is so big, it's not gonna flex. It's everything in this bearing and this top bearing, where if I put this on here, ooh, I'm in that hole, hold on. Get ready, watch this. Oh, dang it, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. See me moving that? How many is that? 1/1000? Let me pull up. So you're gonna have a 2000s. Let's do hardly any. Let's pretend we're breathing on it. See that? That's not gonna work. I'm just barely pushing on it with my thumb. That's how much is gonna hit the variance. Sorry, these plugs, this is a test block from when we were trying to press fit these in, and we just been cutting it and cutting it. So this is definitely not a pin deck conversion. This is just testing these, okay, to see how they fit. This is that first block I did a long time ago. Anyways, we decided it'd be a good one to just mill down 50 times today. So what I'm trying to explain here is the rigidity it's not the tool, it's the rigidity of your spindle, fellas. So there you go. As you're cutting, you're gonna have 1 thou high, 1 thou low. That's that's not a mere finish. So what I did was feed it different tests. I fed it as fast as the machine would go, like 30 inches a minute, and it was like beautifully mirror finish. But the tooling marks were just like the waves of the ocean. Now I slowed it down, and it kept getting me less dull. It would give me a duller finish every time, but smoother. So finally he wants to cut fast with this to create what's called a chip. If you're not feeding and cutting fast, you'll rub, and rub is gonna give you a really ugly finish, okay? If you slow it down, that's all you're gonna get is rubbing. You gotta make a chip. And there's a lot of information out the Performance CBN website for all that. And that's what we really like to do over there, is help with surfacing techniques. So it all started with this, trying to figure out this mill in my court, not my dad's, and me asking him for better this. And, he started us out with some stuff, but now he's getting to be kind of a big deal. Or Performance CBN, I should say, is becoming a big deal in the reamer game for bronze guide reamers, and then lollipop cutters for porting. And this thing here has been in the make since January. So anyways, you probably want to see me chop some stuff just for fun. Let's do it. I'm gonna put that there. And I'm gonna turn the camera off. No, I'm not. I'm gonna just upload this right to YouTube. So I'm gonna just turn my 3-phase on. Now this thing is scary. It is heavy. And if it can kill you if like your head gets hit by that thing. So what we're gonna, I just lifted my dang table. Hold on, I gotta retouch off. Let me show you how to touch off, because I'm just gonna have to redo that. I'm gonna bring my table down. Like my shoes, I'm dressed for a YouTube video this morning. I'm not dressed for the shop. I just worked out his shoes. Alrighty, so now, there's our gap. Whoa. I'm gonna bring this table up. I gotta stabilize my hand. There we go. So here we are. I'm bringing the table up ever so slightly, and I'll pull this back. We're gonna be right about 23 thousandths. I don't think I'm cutting the end. See how I'm just touching? Okay. Let's tighten my table. Watch how everything moves. When I tighten the table, I now have contact. See that? Okay, so now cutter tool out. I am at here at 0, so I'm going to loosen my table just a bit. Let's just cut some thousandths down there, huh? Now, when I come back in, I will probably bang. Maybe bang. Okay, so now we're going to pull the table out because we want to cut. Okay, so there we go. Now, if I turn this thing on, it's going to take full load up here. Sorry I don't have my cover on, y'all. It doesn't fit when I had to put the new switch mod up in there. But I don't mean mod. I didn't mod it. The cover don't fit back on. So after we moved, I'm dealing with that right now. But let me explain. This thing is somewhere in the like 20 pounds. So I do this to get her going. Ooh, went the wrong way. I'll kind of let it rest for a second. There we go. We're spinning here. Oops, hold on, sorry. Now I'm gonna stand back and show you guys how flippin' scary that is. Okay, that is 14 inch, and that will fuck you up. Pardon my French. I'm probably gonna have to edit that out, but in this video, I want to tell everybody how safe to be. Okay, because me bending down here to turn this on, you do not want to get whacked with that thing. Let's see what speed I have on here. I got it cooking pretty good. Okay, now we'll start cutting. Now I'm feeding it pretty fast. You can see the rubbing I'm getting. Now that rubbing has nothing to do with the cutter. It has everything to do with the rigidity of my setup. Okay. Now what we're cutting off right now is my sanding marks. But notice that this thing is a lot quieter than it used to be. And it's just slicing away with that PCD, man. Now I don't have my head tipped. This thing is set up right now for boring. Now let me tell you why that's kind of cool. Is I can switch to the boring head and bore, okay, if you were going to be doing that. And you wouldn't be able to do that if you tip the head. You'd have to untip it every time. Now I'm going to be able to feed this block to here and stop. See how we only have a little bit left to go? We're not going to get into the back feeding side of things here. But I'm just going to show you here real quick. I think we're in the, I don't know how many inches a minute. I believe my machine's pulley system has changed, because this is supposed to be like 4.5 inches a minute, and we're doing a lot faster than that. Okay. Doing some work there at the very end. And it's done, so I'll hit my stop. I'm gonna turn that off. Now, I'm gonna turn that off and just let her coast. Okay, now keep in mind, the longer the cutter, the more flex at the end of that lever. So, the 12-inch would cut better. A 10-inch would cut better. A 6-inch would cut better. A 4-inch would cut even better. But, rules for machining. You can't have parting edges. So let's say we had a 4-inch, which we're talking about. You could do a pass and a pass. Now, what we think, this is just me and Dad talking for my little Hondas. Okay, these have a different tolerance. This is my 1.7. I'm gonna pin deck convert it, And these are 216s like the VTEC. They're bored at 20. I'm gonna probably pin deck convert all 3 of these for Grand Vitara pistons for you turbo Civic people. Now, this deck, sorry, I'll get right back up there in a second, but if I had a 4-inch cutter, we could cut here and get a really smooth finish and then do a backfeed here. Okay, now you'd have a parting edge in the middle for machining marks, but, okay, there's reasons why you want a smaller cutter. The table travel is like a little bit more on the center, okay? So see how I have to have my table and my block moved over? That's because this is the cutting edge here, not the center of the whole mechanism. It's 7 inches out, okay? So there's a little bit of that to consider. Now, let's get in here and look at my finish. You guys want to see the finish. It's nothing to look at. It's nothing to look at, guys. This is called the test finish that didn't pass. You cannot run a Subaru on this. You will get leaking oil here and here. Your head gasket might seat, okay? It might. So, hang tight. I'm trying to do this in one take. I'm not even gonna do all of this. I'm gonna do the main parts. We're gonna let this dry real quick. I'm doing a real sloppy left-handed job, sorry. And I'm trying to do it looking through the camera. This is probably one of the key spots. I'm just hosing this with ink because I want you guys to see as fast as possible. This takes forever to dry. That's why we're gonna do this. We're gonna get that sanding block, and you're gonna see what you would see at your shop if you bought this and tried this. And we don't recommend it at Performance CBN. We tell you to get a piece of junk surfacer like the Peterson and then put this in it, and then get all your surfacing jobs on another machine and use your mill for something else that it's intended for. Big engine blocks is not really, this is like, I mean, we're finding the boring specs and stuff for this. It's not really working out. You need a more rigid machine. So we're just testing and trying stuff. I have this boring machine. It does a lot better job than me trying to do this. This, I could have it off and bore a cylinder crooked, which is why we have the Fowler indicators and stuff. So, okay, back to this. I really need that dry, but here we go. I'm gonna do some circles. Sorry, folks. Trust me, this is, sorry. I know that you would say, oh, do it more even. This has got 300 grit, okay? We're not taking our, we're not moving anything but ripping the sandpaper up. Okay, so now you can see this is tiger striping, okay? These are all the high and low spots. Now, when you go get your block machined at, like like on a Rottler, there'll still be stuff like this, but it's not nearly, like I can barely, you wouldn't be able to feel, but you're not gonna wipe off that ink in one swipe, okay? You'll still have some like rubbing marks, but it's going to be insanely better than this. Okay, now I could sand on this. Let's just go here. The goal is to be able to sand on this lightly and all your tooling marks come out, and you've just lapped your deck. I'm just going to go on one spot to show you how deep these go. That's not a lot of sanding. And they're disappearing, but you might be here for 15 minutes. This sandpaper is pretty fine, 320. I would start, I would start with maybe something in the 200s to really take the top off, and I would smooth it with that. Now, this wouldn't work as well if I tipped that head and made a cup shape in here slightly, which is technically what all the 5-axis Rottlers do, but it's almost immeasurable. the high spot from here to here and low spot in the middle. Now in a Subaru, that might be beneficial because this is the leak zone at the bottom of the engine, okay? And you'll be pinching tighter here on both castings. If you did the head that way and the block, you technically be pinching like 4/10 tighter. But really what you guys want to do, I'm telling you, like, if you're going to be wanting a smooth head gasket, I don't care almost what shop you take it to, lap it when you're done, okay? Ink it if you want. Know you're flat. Put ink down it. Polish it with a flat, nice sanding bar. Okay, block sand it, right? And you'll know that you're smooth. And then when you put your gasket on, you know you won't have machining marks in this spot, leaking oil, and you have to take the heads back off. So anyways, little channel demo of the Beast, the biggest fly cutter they make. I'm getting ready to take this to, we're gonna go put this on a CNC Doosan machine, is where this particular is gonna live. And it's gonna be doing our Subaru blocks, this particular face cutter, fly cutter, okay? And I'll be over at the Doosan in some of our next videos. It's not my machine, it's a friend of mine's. But he's been kind enough to let us contract the work there and let him test some of these tools there. So you'll see me there shortly. I'm gonna go run over there now and get my mill back to being a mill and no longer a surfacer. Okay, and then guess what? The Peterson. Okay, let me zoom back. This is what we're working on. Okay, this is an old surfacer. Okay, now this thing here is a ball screw. See that? Ball screw, 7 feet tall. I zip tied it right there so it doesn't fall. There's the actual ball bearing, and that is going to go right along here, and it is going to be our new travel mechanism, so we don't have to use the primitive this chain to rack and pinion teeth. Okay, that might give us a herky-jerky as we go down, whereas the roller bearings, that's a brand new bearing. There's a cover, like a belt cover. This thing I have block sanded already, and it seemed to be real nice, so that's good. But I want to get this thing painted right now. It's my this week project, and get this on here. And then look, we got Subarus everywhere, everyone. Subaru blocks galore. This is a 14-inch fly cutter, or the cutter. It's massive and it's very thick and heavy. Okay, it weighs 50-something pounds. But that is gonna get polished. I'm gonna really modify and polish that like the other one. And it will go in here, and we have the travel mechanism to finish. And then lastly, just simply a single motor is gonna go up here. So the fixture, this is all the pulleys and stuff I'm gonna use. These are scrap from a lawnmower. I'm gonna use maybe some of the bearings and pulleys. Some of this is from the Peterson too. But we have so this machine has a main center line set up, okay, with these. Okay, this sits here. I'm gonna clean all this up, don't you worry, okay? These, I'm just gonna carry it with you. This big old primitive table, if that makes sense. This table is a tilt table. Huge tilt table that came with this, and it sits on these. What I'm gonna be doing, and put in the comments if this is a horrible idea, but I'm gonna take this bar off of these two nuts. And see this casting? I'm gonna not have this bar anymore, and I'm gonna build a billet steel flat that I can put the BHJ bar on, so I can tilt it, and then if I needed to adjust once, you know, to square up the bar, this thing I'll be able to shim it, and then that back one right here, we'll be able to shim that one too, to get the dial indicator to zero out. So if you're interested and watching me refurbish an old machine. This was like a $2,000 retired surfacer, a grinding surfacer at that. And we took off all these panels to just get the bare frame. And this thing I think is only going to be 2 to 3 horsepower as far as the spindle. And I think the travel mechanism is like 110. You know what I mean? It's not going to be... We might do a variable frequency drive on both. We'll get into that later. But subscribe and follow my dad's Performance CBN channel. He has only a few videos also, but we're going to start doing a lot more this winter. That's why I'm making you this 25-minute video right now about the Peterson and some more surfacing tech. So like, share, and subscribe, everyone. I appreciate you watching. That last video I did excellent. And it did so good, I basically explained to Performance CBN, like, we got to really do some good stuff here on a CNC, and I can't wait to do it. So go check them out. They have these too. If you want this with an R8 shank, we got it. If you want this with a Cat 40 or a 50, we got it. This is an NNTB 30, kind of weird, but I was able to buy it on eBay. But we're getting them from, I think, Haas has a couple of them. They're pretty easy to come by for Cat 40s and whatnot. So anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you guys. And if I said anything tech-wise that's wrong, just be easy on me. I'm like just trying to show this thing off, and we'll get into the deeper tech later, okay? So we'll see you later. Come to Performance Industry Trade Show in Indianapolis, everyone. We have a booth again. We're happy to see y'all there. So we'll have all the fly cutters and diamond tools all on display, along with reamers and billet cutting tools and porting tools and stuff. So thank you much. We'll see you guys later. Find Performance CBN. Don't forget to buy their inserts and cartridges. They do PCD and CBN and bimetal. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.